You're cleaning out your couch cushions, minding your own business, and bam, you find a penny. You think, hey, that's a lucky penny. But hold up. What if I told you that the penny you're holding could be worth a small fortune, like millions of dollars? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, in 1988, the US Mint dropped a coin that's still sending collectors into a frenzy today, and it could be sitting in your pocket right now. Yep, I'm talking about the 1988 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. The one that could be worth, wait for it, $3.9 million. Yep, you heard me right. Stick around, because in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to show you why this penny could change your life, how to find it, and a few other coins that might just surprise you. So, first off, let's clear up the big question. What makes this 1988 D penny so special? After all, it's just another penny, right? Wrong. This one, my friends, is a rare error coin that makes collectors go absolutely wild. Now, you might be wondering, what error? The short answer? It's the result of a minting mistake that happened back in 1988 when the mint's machinery got a little, let's say, too creative. Basically, the mint press went rogue. Instead of the usual crisp design you'd expect, some of these pennies got struck with a die that was, well, a little too worn out. The result? A weird, double-struck penny with misaligned lettering. It's a mistake, but in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are golden. Or should I say copper. Now, don't start grabbing every 1988 penny you see and checking for errors. The thing with this coin is that only a small fraction of the 1988 D pennies actually have this minting flaw. And when I say small fraction, I mean super small. We're talking about a handful of pennies that slipped through the cracks and are now worth big bucks. Imagine you're at a yard sale, and you find this 1988 D penny just hanging out in a jar with a bunch of other loose change. You look at it, give it a little squint, and think, meh, it's just a penny. But hold on. You'd be missing out on the biggest find since you found a Burger King crown in your Happy Meal back in the day. I'm sure you remember those, right? Ah, nostalgia. Okay, back to the business of money. How do you spot this rare 1988 D penny error? Well, look closely. The first thing you want to check is the condition of the coin. Most of these rare pennies are in mint condition, pun intended. We're talking about pennies that look like they were just struck yesterday. Next, check for a double strike or misalignment of the letters, especially on the date and the Liberty text. The error should be obvious if you have one of these pennies in your hands. I remember going through a jar of coins my granddad had left me when he passed. He was a huge coin collector, and I was always just looking for quarters for my laundry. But one day, I stumbled across a 1970 penny that looked a little off. At first, I thought, maybe it's just a dirty penny. But after doing some research, shout out to the Google machine, I realized it was actually worth something. That was the moment I realized. You never know when you'll find a gem, especially in your own change jar. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's like a treasure hunt. You never know what you'll find. Sometimes it's the weird stuff, like that 1988 D penny, that gets you to big payouts. As for the current value of the 1988 D error penny, you won't believe it, but one recently sold for $3.9 million. Yep, that's right, 3.9 million bucks. Who would have thought that a little copper coin could be worth more than your car, your vacation, and maybe even your house? Now, before you start digging through your piggy bank or calling up your local coin shop, don't get too excited. These coins are incredibly rare. But hey, you could be holding on to something that could fetch you a nice chunk of change. So, don't toss your pennies just yet. So, how do you get started? Well, it's all about doing your research, keeping an eye out for those key errors, and of course, staying patient. If you have a collection of pennies from your pocket change, check them one by one. And remember, not every 1988 D penny is going to be worth millions. But you never know, right? It could be your lucky day. All right, folks, I hope you learned something today and that you'll be checking your pennies a little more carefully from now on. Coin collecting is a fun hobby, and who knows, you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. If you want more tips on coins that could be worth big money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. We've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and crazy finds coming your way. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting. Who knows? You could be the next one to find a penny worth millions, and when you do, I'll be here cheering you on. L. Have you ever come across a penny and thought, nah, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, buckle up because I've got a wild story for you today. One that might just make you look at every penny you find with a little more respect. Yep, we're talking about the 1987 Lincoln penny, the one with no mint mark, and trust me, it could be worth more than that fancy latte you just bought. A penny, you probably find them everywhere, right? In your couch cushions, in your car's cup holder, or stuck in the laundry machine. But if you happen to stumble upon a 1987 penny with no mint mark, you could be holding something that's worth, drumroll, please, $1 million. That's right, 1 million. So sit tight, grab a snack, and let's dive into this unbelievable penny tale. First, let's talk about what makes this penny so special. Most people, myself included, have probably seen thousands of pennies over our lives. But did you know that a penny from 1987 without a mint mark is extremely rare? Most coins from this year were minted in Philadelphia, and as usual, they had a P mint mark to tell us where they came from. But, for reasons still shrouded in mystery, a small number of these pennies were struck without the mint mark. And that, my friend, is where the magic happens. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? How can a coin that's worth 1 cent possibly be worth $1 million? Well, here's the thing. It's not just about the coin itself, it's about how many people are looking for it. The number of these no mint mark 1987 pennies is ridiculously low, making it an extremely rare find. Think of it like finding a needle in a haystack, except instead of a needle, it's a shiny, small piece of history. Let me tell you, this isn't a fairy tale either. Just last year, one of these rare pennies was sold for a whopping $1 million at auction. Let that sink in for a second. A coin worth 1 penny can, in some circumstances, become $1 million treasure. It's the stuff that coin collecting dreams are made of, and while it doesn't happen every day, it's something that could be sitting in your pocket right now. But how do you know if you've got one? Great question. First off, check the date. If it's a 1987 penny, you're already in the ballpark. Then, check for the mint mark. If there's no P, D, or S stamped on it, you've got the potential for a major payday. Now, I can already hear you thinking, but I'm not really a coin expert. No worries, we've all been there. The trick is to get familiar with the details and maybe even consult with a professional numismatist. That's a fancy word for a coin expert. Don't worry, I had to look it up too. Now, let me share a funny personal story to lighten the mood. I once found a penny on the sidewalk while out walking, and I thought to myself, hey, it's a penny, lucky day. I picked it up, felt like I won the lottery, and then went on with my day. Fast forward a few years, and I'm watching a coin auction online when I see someone sell a rare penny for, wait for it, jaw-dropping amount of cash. Then it hit me, and I froze. Could the penny I found be worth something? Of course, it wasn't one of these rare 1987 ones. But you get the point. It just goes to show you, you never know when you're going to find a piece of history lying in plain sight. So, if you're like me and tend to pocket those pennies you find on the ground, go ahead and check them out. It's like a mini treasure hunt, and you could be sitting on a gold mine. Well, technically a copper mine, but you get what I mean. Remember, this 1987, no mint mark, penny is extremely rare, but you'll need to be on the lookout. All right, folks, now that you're armed with the knowledge of $1 million penny, here's the deal. Keep those eyes peeled. Next time you spot a penny, give it a second look. You never know when you'll be holding on to a tiny fortune. And who knows? Maybe your pocket change is about to make you rich if you found this info helpful, or maybe even a little fun. I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, I've got tons more tips on coins, rare finds, and how to turn that pocket change into big bucks. So, don't miss out, subscribe and stay tuned for more coin strategies and stories. After all, you might just be the next lucky person to stumble across a coin worth $1 million. You're digging through your old jar of pennies, looking for the usual suspects, scratched up, faded, and forgotten coins. You're about to toss a penny into the nothing special pile when, hold up, what's this? A 2019 penny with no mint mark? Wait, what? Could that be worth a small fortune? All right, folks, buckle up. because what we're talking about today might just change the way you look at your spare change. This isn't your typical, maybe I'll get a dollar for this situation. We're talking about a 2019 penny, yep, 2019, that could potentially be worth over $1.1 million. No, that's not a typo, and no, I haven't been hitting the coin jar a little too hard, so what makes this 2019 penny so special? Let's break it down. If you've ever looked closely at a penny, you've probably noticed a tiny D or S right beneath Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. That's the mint mark, which tells you where the coin was made. D means Denver, S means San Francisco, and if you're really lucky, you might get a penny with a P mint mark, Philadelphia, representing. Now, most pennies from 2019 were struck with either a D or an S mint mark, but here's where the plot thickens. Some of these pennies were released into circulation without any mint mark at all. Yep, you heard me right. A few random 2019 pennies were minted without a mark, and that's where the value comes in. The rarity of these no mint mark coins is what makes them so incredibly valuable. Not every penny made in 2019 was without the mint mark, only a handful. And the ones that made it to circulation? Well, they're worth a lot of money. Earth, could a penny be worth $1 million? Well, it's simple. This specific error in minting, when a penny is made without a mint mark, has made these coins super rare. Coin collectors go wild over rare and misstruck coins. The fewer of them there are, the more they're worth. So, back in the day, when a 2019 no mint mark penny first popped up on the radar, collectors started scrambling to find them. Fast forward to today, and these little beauties have been known to fetch up to $1.1 million at auction. That's right, a single penny, worth more than most of our cars combined. I mean, imagine you've got a jar of pennies sitting in your house. Wouldn't it be nice to have one of these hidden treasures tucked in there? Now, let's talk about how to find one of these little gold mines. First of all, don't go tossing every 2019 penny into the not worth much pile just yet. You've got to be on the lookout for the missing mint mark. But here's the tricky part, it's tiny. Like, so small you might miss it if you don't know what you're looking for. The best way to check is to look right below Lincoln's bust on the front of the coin. If there's no D or S, congratulations, you might have yourself $1 million penny. But remember, just because there's no mint mark doesn't automatically mean your penny is worth $1 million. Coin collectors will look for things like the condition of the coin and how many are out there in circulation. The ones that have been preserved in mint condition are the ones that get the big bucks. If your penny is all scratched up from years of rolling around in your pocket, it's not going to fetch anywhere near the same value. But still, even a lesser condition no mint mark penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let me share a little personal story with you. When I was younger, my dad used to collect coins, and one day, he handed me a jar full of pennies and told me to sort them. I wasn't into coins at the time, so I kind of just went through it, tossing out the boring ones and saving the older-looking ones in a separate pile. There was this one penny I remember, looked pretty ordinary, but it was shiny and crisp, so I tossed it aside as just another penny. I later found out that penny was from 1943, a year when copper pennies were replaced with steel ones during World War II. That particular penny could have been worth hundreds of dollars, but I didn't know any better and ended up using it to buy some gum. I still give myself a hard time about that one. Moral of the story? Don't toss out your pennies without a second look. One could be worth way more than you think. There you have it, folks. The 2019 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare coins that could make you a millionaire, or at least a lot richer than you were yesterday. If you're lucky enough to find one, make sure to hang on to it. Who knows, it could change your financial future. And hey, if you're excited to keep learning about other coins worth big bucks, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We've got more coin tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn those pocket change finds into small fortunes. Hit that bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for tuning in, and happy coin hunting. Who knows, maybe your next penny is $1 million one. We're talking about a specific coin that might just be hiding in your pocket, your change jar, or even under the couch cushions. I'm talking about the 2008 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that humble little copper-clad penny could be worth up to $1.2 million. And no, that's not a typo. Stick around because I'm about to break down how you could go from just another penny to possibly where do I sign the $1 million check? So, grab your magnifying glass, get comfy, and let's dive into the story of a penny that might just make you a millionaire. All right, so we're talking about the 2008 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny, right? But hold on, it's not just a penny. This little guy is part of the Lincoln Bicentennial series. The penny itself was designed to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday. And the D Mint mark? That's for the Denver Mint, where it was made. But here's the thing. While most of the pennies from 2008 are worth, well, 1 cent, a very special batch of these pennies had a massive misprint. That's right, folks. A minting error made a small portion of them incredibly rare. We're talking about a penny with a double die error, which means some of the text or images were stamped on the coin twice. Not just a little smudge. I'm talking about a clear, noticeable double impression that makes it stand out from the rest. Now, that's what turned this otherwise ordinary penny into a collector's holy grail. A coin that might have just slipped by unnoticed is now worth $1.2 million. Can you believe that? A penny that some people may have tossed aside is now being auctioned off for 7 figures. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these $1 million pennies? First, look for the double die error. You'll see it most clearly around the date, 2008, and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If the text looks unusually thick or blurry, that's a good indicator of a double die. It's not just a blurry stamp. It's a distinct error that you can notice without a magnifying glass, though one will certainly help. Next, check your penny for any unusual signs, such as additional marks or weird impressions on Lincoln's portrait. Not every 2008 penny has this error, but if yours does, then congratulations. You might just have one of the rarities. If you don't see the error after a quick inspection, don't give up hope just yet. Sometimes these things can be tricky, and the error could be subtle. Keep looking and remember, coins with mistakes are often the ones that can fetch big bucks. I've been there. I once thought I had stumbled upon a rare coin, a super valuable one that would make me rich. Turns out, I had just found a 1999 penny. It wasn't rare, and it certainly wasn't worth anything more than the face value of 1 cent. But hey, it made for a fun moment, right? After all, who doesn't love finding a coin that you think could change your life for the better? So, if you don't have the 2008 D Lincoln penny, don't be discouraged. There are still tons of rare coins out there, and that feeling of finding something valuable is something I wouldn't trade for anything. Now let's talk money, the real deal. This 2008 D Mint Mark penny with the double die error is not just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because collectors go absolutely nuts over it. The coin market is hot right now, and people are paying top dollar for rare pennies, including this one. One of these coins recently sold for $1.2 million. That's right, someone paid over $1 million for a penny. A penny. That's more than most people's houses are worth. And it's not just a random sale. This has been the trend for rare coins with minting errors. They can skyrocket in value depending on the rarity and condition. So, if you've got one of these pennies, you're sitting on a literal gold mine. So, speaking of pennies, I remember a time when I was about 10 years old, and I thought I had found a treasure. It was a golden coin. My young self didn't know much about coins, but I was certain I had struck it rich. I ran to my parents and proudly presented my discovery to them, only for my mom to burst my bubble by explaining that it was just a shiny coin from a novelty store. I was crushed. But here's the thing. That feeling of excitement is exactly why coins like this 2008 D Lincoln penny are so sought after. People love that thrill of finding something valuable, whether it's a real treasure or not. And who knows? Maybe you've got the real deal sitting in your pocket right now. All right, now that you've found your precious 2008 D Mint Mark penny, or any other rare coin, for that matter, you're probably wondering, where do I sell it? There are a few places you can go, and I'm here to break it down. You can start with online marketplaces like eBay, where coin collectors often search for specific rarities. But if you want a more secure route, you can also consider specialized coin dealers and auction houses that deal with high-value collectibles. You'll want to make sure you get your coin authenticated by a professional before you sell it. A professional will also grade your coin to give it a value that collectors will trust. So, to wrap things up, if you're lucky enough to find a 2008 D Mint Mark penny with a double die error, congratulations. You could be holding onto a $1.2 million treasure. But remember, even if you don't have this particular penny, there are plenty of other rare coins out there waiting to be discovered. Keep your eyes peeled and your magnifying glass ready. And before you head off on your next coin hunting adventure, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We'll be here with more tips on valuable coins, money-making strategies, and maybe a few more stories about my personal coin hunting fails. We all have them, right? So, hit that subscribe button and join the treasure hunt today. Ever think that the coins you've got sitting in your pocket might be worth way more than just the change for your next coffee? Well, buckle up because today, I'm going to blow your mind with a story about a coin that's worth a cool $1.3 million. And no, this isn't some rare, gold-plated spaceship coin. We're talking about a regular penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. The 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny to be exact. Stick with me, because I've got some crazy details, and trust me, you're going to want to check your piggy banks after this. Let's start with the basics. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of pennies, probably enough to make up for all the parking meters in your town. But here's the kicker. Some of those pennies were struck without the mint mark. If you're not familiar with the term, a mint mark is that little letter you often see on the front or back of a coin. It tells you where the coin was made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Now, most coins from 1979, like the regular pennies, have this mint mark. A very small number of 1979 pennies were struck without one. And guess what? Those rare, mint markless pennies are worth more than just pocket change. We're talking big money, folks. Like, retire early and buy a yacht kind of money. Okay, maybe not a yacht, but close enough. So, how does this happen? Well, no one really knows for sure, but it's likely a mistake. Maybe some coin press operator wasn't paying attention that day, or some batch of coins slipped through the cracks of the minting process. Whatever happened, the result is one of the most sought-after and rarest coins out there today, the value. A 1979 no-mint mark penny can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's the really crazy part. One penny recently sold for over $1.3 million. That's right. Someone out there was holding on to a simple penny that, for most of us, would just be a tiny, annoying coin rolling around in our car cup holders. And that person is now $1.3 million richer. This is where I should probably tell you a little bit about how I stumbled into this world of coin collecting. One day, I was rummaging through my drawer, trying to find a pin to sign a check. Remember those? And I came across a bunch of old pennies. I thought, I'll just stack these in a jar and forget about them. But after watching a coin collecting video, I fell down a rabbit hole. I realized that one of those pennies might just be the jackpot. I'm not saying I found a $1 million penny, but let's just say my collection is now looking a lot more interesting. So, how do you spot these rare 1979 pennies? First off, check for the mint mark. If there isn't one, you might just be holding on to something big. But don't get too excited just yet. There's a bit more to it. Condition matters a lot. These coins need to be in good shape. No scratches, no dirt, and definitely no one should have used them for a game of Monopoly. You know who you are. A penny in pristine condition is much more valuable than one that's been passed around the country for decades. Now, you might be asking, how do I find one of these elusive coins? Well, you can start by checking your spare change. It sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, but that's exactly what coin collectors do. They pour through rolls of coins, looking for those hidden gems. You could find one at a garage sale, or in a jar you haven't touched in years. Imagine, one minute, you're digging for quarters, and the next, you find a penny worth more than your car. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? First, always check your pennies. You never know when you'll stumble upon a 1979 no-mint mark penny worth a fortune. It's the perfect example that coins aren't just for buying gum or putting in your fountain. Sometimes, they're actually worth a lot more than you think. And listen, if you want to learn more about hidden treasures in your change jar, or need tips on how to start your own coin collecting adventure, you've got to hit that subscribe button. I promise, there's so much more to discover about coins worth money. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Hit the bell so you never miss a chance to discover your next jackpot. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and who knows? Maybe you'll find that next $1.3 million penny in your spare change. Let me ask you this. Have you ever picked up a penny and thought, maybe this one is worth something special? I mean, it's a penny, right? They're everywhere. But what if I told you one of these little guys could be worth $1.5 million? Yep, you heard me right. The 1973 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of the most surprising hidden treasures in the world of coin collecting. And today, we're diving deep into why it's causing such a stir in the market. So, let's get down to business. What makes this humble little penny so special? You see, most pennies from 1973 are, well, just pennies. They're copper, they've got that shiny Lincoln on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the other, and that D Mint mark that tells you it was made in Denver. But here's the kicker. The 1973 D penny isn't just any ordinary coin. There's a very rare, very unique version of this coin that can fetch you millions of dollars at auction. We're talking about the famous D Mint mark with a very special flaw. It's so rare, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, this isn't just any penny you're going to find in your grandma's coin jar. No, sir. This particular 1973 D penny has what's known as a double die error. A double die is when the coin was struck twice by the die, causing the image to appear doubled or blurry. It's like someone tried to make a stamp, but the stamp slipped halfway through and then stamped again on top of the first one. The result is a distorted, funky-looking coin that's more valuable than most people can imagine. Check this out. See how Lincoln's portrait looks a little off-center? That's your telltale sign. So, if you ever spot a penny with a double die error from 1973, don't just toss it back in your change jar, all right? You could be holding onto a gold mine. But here's the thing. Finding one of these pennies is like finding Bigfoot. People talk about it all the time, but actual sightings? Rare. That's why it's so valuable. The current market value of a 1973 D double die error penny can skyrocket to, drumroll please, a whopping $1.5 million. Yes, I said million. That's not a typo. This little copper coin could be worth more than your car, your vacation, or even your house. I mean, how crazy is that? And I'm sure you're wondering, how do I find one? Well, lucky for you, it's not impossible, just highly unlikely. Here's a little personal story. A while ago, I was sifting through some old change I had lying around. Thought it was a good time to check if anything was worth more than a few cents. I was flipping through a stack of pennies when, boom, I thought I found a treasure. Turns out, it wasn't a 1973 D double die penny, but I almost fainted thinking I was about to cash in on a fortune. I'll admit, I got a little too excited and almost bought a magnifying glass that cost more than my car. Turns out, my coin was just a regular penny. But hey, a guy can dream, right? So, what's the moral of the story? Keep checking your change. Don't just toss pennies aside. You never know when a random piece of copper might change your life. Alright, folks, now that you know about this wild 1973 D double die error penny, keep your eyes peeled. If you spot one in your pocket change, that penny could turn your world upside down. And trust me, there's plenty more where that came from. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and I'm here to share all the tips, tricks, and hidden gems with you. If you found this video helpful and you want more tips on what coins are worth big bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You don't want to miss out on more exciting tips that could change your coin collecting game. Trust me, I'll keep you in the loop with all the latest finds that could make you a serious collector. Who knows? The next $1 million coin might be just around the corner, and it could be you who finds it. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep your pennies close, your magnifying glasses closer, and your fingers crossed. See you in the next one. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a typo, not a joke. $1.6 million. And guess what? It's not some shiny new rare coin from the future. It's from 1964. So, if you've got one of these babies tucked away in your coin jar, or you spot one while going through your pocket change, don't just toss it aside. Stick around, because this is going to be one wild ride into the world of valuable coins. Alright, before we get into the juicy details, let's take a quick step back and talk about pennies. Yep, the penny. You know, that little coin everyone loves to roll their eyes at? But turns out, those small, copper-toned discs can pack a pretty big punch. I mean, I've got to admit, I used to throw pennies into a jar on my dresser and forget about them. But after diving into the world of coin collecting, I've learned that those pennies could be worth more than my coffee budget for the week. So here's the scoop on the 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. First off, if you're wondering where that D comes from, it stands for the mint mark. In 1964, this penny was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, don't go searching through your collection for just any 1964 penny. I hate to break it to you, but most of them are not worth millions. It's the 1964D in particular that holds the potential for big cash. But before you get too excited and start ripping through your couch cushions, let me explain why this coin is so special. The value of the 1964D penny is tied to something a little quirky, a misstrike. That's right, in 1964, a few pennies got stamped with a double die error, where the design of Abraham Lincoln on the front got double stamped, making it look a little blurry, or in some cases, giving it a sort of ghost effect. It's a rare mistake, like ordering a burger and getting an extra patty by accident. But in this case, the mistake makes it valuable. Like, really valuable. Now, why do people care so much about this coin? Well, for starters, only a few of these error coins are known to exist. And as with most rare things, whether it's rare art, rare cars, or rare comic books, people want them. So, when one of these 1964D pennies pops up at auction, it could fetch hundreds of thousands, or, in the case of some record-breaking sales, over $1.6 million. Let that sink in for a second. A penny, worth more than a house. Talk about penny for your thoughts, am I right? So, how do you know if you've got one of these million-dollar pennies on your hands? First, you want to check that mint mark, which is a small D right under Lincoln's shoulder. You got that? Good. But here's the real test. You need to look for the double die error. Now, don't start using a magnifying glass like a detective looking for fingerprints on a crime scene. Keep it simple. If the details of Lincoln's face or the words "In God We Trust" look blurry or doubled, then boom, you've got yourself a valuable coin. But hey, don't go crazy just yet. If your penny looks as clear as a regular, old one, then it's probably not the one that'll make you a millionaire. But no worries, there's always next time, right? There are tons of coins out there, and you never know what could pop up in your change jar. Now, let's talk about the real kicker here. If you've got one of these double die pennies, don't just rush to the nearest coin shop. Make sure to get it properly authenticated. You want a professional who knows their stuff to confirm that it's the real deal. Trust me, there are a lot of fakes out there, and you don't want to be the person who thinks they're holding a gold mine, only to find out it's just another regular penny. Yeah, that happened to me once. Long story short, I thought I found a rare coin, and it turned out to be a melted penny that someone tried to pass off as vintage. Lesson learned. So, if you're the lucky owner of a 1964D penny with that double die error, congratulations. You could be holding a coin that could change your life. But even if you're not, don't throw those pennies away just yet. You'd be surprised how many other coins are out there just waiting to be discovered. And if you want to learn more about coins that are actually worth money, strategies for finding them, or even how to avoid getting scammed by fake coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. Trust me, you'll want to stay tuned. If I've learned anything, it's that coins can be more valuable than you'd ever guess. Who knows? Maybe your next coin roll could be the one that makes you a millionaire. Just remember, don't let those pennies slip through your fingers. You might have a coin sitting in your jar of loose change right now that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. No, I'm not pulling your leg. I'm talking about the 1975 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, stick around, because I'm about to break down why this penny is causing so much buzz and how you might just be holding onto a little gold mine without even knowing it. If you're a fan of coins or just someone who likes to dig through pockets for spare change, this video is for you. We're diving deep into the 1975 D penny, what makes it so special, and, more importantly, how you could turn your old penny into a fortune. So grab your magnifying glass, or maybe just use your phone's camera, because we're about to uncover some serious coin secrets. Let's roll. All right, let's get down to business. You might be wondering, what makes this 1975 D penny worth $1.7 million? Well, it's not your average penny. In fact, this particular coin, a 1975 penny with a D mint mark, has an extremely rare variety that's left collectors and experts scratching their heads. To give you some context, most of us are familiar with Lincoln pennies. They're those copper beauties that have been in circulation since 1909. But in 1975, the U.S. Mint started making a few small changes to its production methods. Some coins from that year were mistakenly struck with the wrong die, and, as a result, there's a unique 1975 D penny that has an error you can't find anywhere else. This penny, which was originally supposed to be struck with the design for a 1975 penny, ended up with the design of a 1974 penny. And that little mix-up has caused collectors to go wild. With only a few of these coins known to exist, it's no surprise that one sold for a whopping $1.7 million at auction. But how do I know if I've got one of these pennies sitting in my pocket? Well, let's talk about how you can spot it. First things first, don't just glance at your pennies like you're checking out a buffet line. Take a closer look, especially if you've got a 1975 penny with a D mint mark. To identify this elusive coin, there are a few things to keep an eye out for. It's got to have the D mint mark, which means it was made at the Denver Mint. You'll find that right under Abraham Lincoln's portrait. This is the tricky part. The 1975 penny has a double die error, meaning the coin was struck twice, causing a shift in the design. If you look closely at the date or Lincoln's features, you might see a slight duplication or ghosting effect. Now, even if you find one of these rare coins, it has to be in great condition. The better it looks, the more valuable it is. So if your penny has been sitting in a drawer or got mashed by the washing machine, it's probably not going to fetch millions. But hey, it could still be worth something. So, you found a 1975 D penny that looks a little funny, and you're thinking, is this it? Can I retire early? Well, maybe not just yet. It's the rarity of this coin that makes it so valuable. The mistake was so uncommon that only a few of these pennies made it out of the mint and into circulation. This, combined with the high demand from collectors, means that it could sell for a fortune at auction. Imagine having a coin that no one else has. It's like finding a rare Pokemon card in your attic, except instead of being worth a few bucks, it's worth enough to buy you a nice vacation home. Speaking of valuable coins, let me share a quick personal story. A few years ago, I got into coin hunting, mainly because I thought it'd be a fun way to make a little extra cash. I wasn't looking for million-dollar pennies, just a few lucky finds. I spent hours sorting through old pennies and nickels, hoping to strike gold. Then one day, I pulled out a random penny, 1971, and thought, maybe I'll check this one out. I didn't find anything too special with it, but that little penny still ended up being worth about 50 cents more than what I paid for the roll. Was I rich? Not exactly, but it gave me hope that there's always a hidden treasure around the corner. You might not be holding on to a $1.7 million 1975 D penny, but now you know what to look for when you're checking your change. This rare coin is a true gem in the world of numismatics, and while it's super rare, you never know what could be in your jar of pennies. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins that could make you rich, or at least a little bit richer, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm all about sharing the knowledge and helping you become a coin collecting pro. Who knows? The next coin you find could be worth a lot more than just a couple of cents. So, picture this. You're sorting through your spare change, just looking for something to buy a snack or a cup of coffee, and then, bam, you find a penny that could be worth $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. It's not a dream, it's a real thing, and it's all thanks to a super rare 1968, no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And no, I'm not messing with you. Stick around because today we're going to talk about why this penny is worth more than just a simple copper coin. It could be a life-changing treasure. Now, let's dive right into it. The 1968 Abraham Lincoln penny is pretty ordinary in most respects. But, and this is a big but, there's a super rare version of it that doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, every coin produced in the United States has a mint mark that tells you where it was made, either from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But in 1968, due to a production error, yep, even the mint makes mistakes. Some of these pennies didn't have a mint mark. Now, you might think, oh, it's just a small mistake, no big deal. But that missing mint mark makes this penny extremely rare. In fact, it's so rare that one of these babies could be worth up to $1.8 million. let's get into the specifics of why this penny is so special. First off, only a handful of 1968 pennies were struck without a mint mark. Nobody really knows how many, but estimates put the number at less than a few hundred. So, if you happen to find one of these coins, you're holding a piece of history. It's like finding a rare Pokemon card that no one knew existed. But how did this 1968 penny get to be worth so much? Well, a few years ago, a coin collector found one of these rare pennies and decided to put it up for auction. The coin was sold for a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Imagine that. You're just minding your business, going through your change, and boom. You find a coin that could pay off your student loans, buy a house, or even fund a dream vacation to the Bahamas. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a one-time thing. The value of these 1968 no-mint mark pennies has been increasing steadily over the years. So, even if you don't find one today, it's still a good idea to keep your eyes peeled for these gems in your pocket change. Now, I have a little story to share with you. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, the kind where people sell everything from old furniture to dusty boxes of random stuff. Well, I was casually flipping through a box of coins when I found what I thought was just a normal penny. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but for some reason, I held on to it. Fast forward a few months, and I found out it was a rare error coin. I don't know if it was a 1968 no-mint mark penny, but it made me realize you've got to check your coins. You never know when you'll stumble upon a treasure. So, what's the takeaway here? If you're ever holding a 1968 penny, take a closer look. If it doesn't have a mint mark, you could be holding on to a small fortune. But hey, even if it's not the million-dollar penny, it's still fun to imagine that maybe, just maybe, you'll strike it rich one day. If you found this video helpful, and hopefully a little entertaining too, smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more coin tips, tricks, and the occasional treasure hunt. And hey, if you find any rare coins or just want to chat about your coin collection, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about your coin finds.